Hello, I'm Mae Whitman.
And I'm Jane Levy.
And today we will be discussing
Murderess Row.
Oh.
You will like it though, it's very cool and stressful and cool.
You like murder? Me too.
It's 1924.
Maurine Dallas Watkins.
She's just graduated from Yale. And then she was like, you know what, this, I wanna tell the truth.
She moves to Chicago, this town of jazz, drink, crime.
And she started working for the Chicago Tribune.
And she was like, yeah, I got a job at the Chicago Tribune and I'm gonna investigate what I gotta investigate.
That's what she really wanted to do.
Hell yeah.
Right? And then she comes upon this editor, who's a man.
The editor was like, Maurine, I'm gonna assign you
Yeah.
to the Cooks County Jail's Murderess Row.
Which is where they keep the women who are awaiting trial.
And he was like, you're a woman. Nobody else wants to report on this shit. It's a little boring for our male reporters. I care about the goods, so give me the goods, baby. And she was like, I got you, bitch. I got you. She goes to Murderess Row in Cooks County Jail.
She meets Sabella Nitti, an Italian immigrant who is accused of murdering her husband. She says, he hurt me. I did kill him, but because he hurt me. And Maureen is like, this is it.
Maureen went to her editor and was like, I heard about Sabella Nitti. And he was like, no, bitch. Like, I don't care about Sabella Nitti.
The problem was he wanted something juicy, this editor.
Loves juice.
He said to her, look, I need you to bring me something juicy as hell. Really, like, get excited about Murderess Row. Like, you can say some sexy shit. Like, you can, like... Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then, all of a sudden, Belva Gardner is arrested. She was a cabaret dancer. She was like, yes, my lover was found sprawled out, dead as hell, across the front seat of a car. She was like, look, I'm just a woman and I was basically possessed by the devil, which is jazz.
Meanwhile, Maureen was like, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. This is exactly what I need to make my career. I love goss. I love juice. My editor's gonna eat this up.
Yeah, so that was her first big break. So then, within like, I don't even know how many minutes, not many, she gets this other lady, Beulah Anand. And Beulah Anand's arrested. She has had a lover's spat.
And they both reached for a pistol, and f***ing our babe, Beulah, was like, and while he was laying on the floor, she played hula loo, and she danced around his grave, and she made multiple cocktails, and she drank them.
Beulah says, I was taken a hold of by drinking alcohol and listening to jazz music. And like, me, I guess. It was just like a bunch of bullshit.
But Maureen is like, oh my God, I'm getting the juice that my editor asked me for. Hell yes.
The newspaper comes out. These women realize right away, we have got to look good because that's what this shit is about, is looking good.
And they're like, if I cut my hair and I do my mascara right and I go do my eyeliner right and I move my hips right and I cry at the right moment, they're not going to convict me.
So they start a beauty school within Murderess Row.
Did they call it anything?
They called it murderousrowbeautyschool.com. They were ahead of their time. And they're like taking these women that are like, I just f***ing ripped somebody's head off yesterday. And they're like, I know, but like, sit down, sweetie.
These girls are actually incredibly intelligent because they know how to work their angle and they're like, I forget. So it's 1924 and Maureen goes to Murderess Row and she interviews the girls before they go to trial.
They were like, I'm sorry, but we love jazz and drink. We
love
can't believe
ourselves.
it."
We love to do this thing. And they were like, a woman would never kill a man because a man would never mean enough to a woman for her to just murder somebody.
Obviously. And Maureen is like, these women are obviously guilty. The evidence is laid out on the table. these women are guilty. She didn't care about that.
So she's like writing these stories that are like super tabloidy, salacious.
Anything these women had to say got spun into this big juicy circus.
Okay, so we're at the trial after months of covering this story. And the girls have their like sideways caps and their nice blue wide set eyes and their skinny little noses.
And their lawyer, etc., was like, my client is pregnant.
They weren't pregnant, but they were like, I'm pregnant. My lawyer told me to say I was pregnant. And the reporters were like, oh my God, look at these girls and their haircuts and their manicures. Like, they could never commit a crime. And on top of that, they might be carrying a baby. And Maurine is like,
I'm typing on the computer that's not invented yet.
she's like, sexy ladies do the thing that you think that they never could do.
I mean, Maurine got caught up. Let's not mince words. Maurine got f***ing caught up in the sexiness of the whole thing.
Like, her agenda wasn't necessarily to sensationalize, but the stories were so, like, dramatic that she had to.
At the end of the trials, they were like, look, I was very ill because someone named Jazz.com came to me and I feel concerned and I feel taken advantage of. I feel that I was someone who explored the realm too heavily and I need help. And like that woman was like, I can't, et cetera, Altadena, et cetera, Pasadena, et cetera.
And the boys are like, you're right. We don't care. You did it.
What
You're
else
so
are we gonna
hot.
say?
We want to you. We don't care.
Which makes sense. Juries back then, all male. And the men were basically like, okay, let me just tell you this. You have spent 4 months in the system. 4 months is too long.
They were like,
get
we
the
believe-
hell out of here. You better go home and raise some babies, you cuties.
And they were like,
Yeah. And they were like, I will go. And they basically, these women got off after 4 months after these f***ing women murdered their lovers in cold blood. Maurine, after this happened, she took a step back and she said to herself, I have been a part of freeing these clearly guilty women who use their feminine wiles to get free. That was my big fault.
meanwhile, Sabilaniti got hanged.
And it was the first time that Maurine was like, I'm sorry, I did the wrong thing. This is f***ed up. I f***ed this situation up. So Maurine, women's groups, and Sabilaniti's lawyers came together to change the laws, and they made it possible for women to be on juries.
And then Maurine was like, I gotta talk about this, like, thing that happened to me. And she wrote a play called...
You okay?
I can't wait to release my hiccup.
You can let him out.
Not yet. Not yet. So she wrote a play that was called The Brave Little Women, which it's hard to understand because it sounds like Little Women, but it's not.
So years and years and years after she died, Bob Fosse got the rights for her play and then made it into Chicago, which turned into the longest running musical on Broadway of all time.
What is the moral of this story?
That's a very good question. Women can be villains just as much as they can be heroes. However, Chicago went to win Best Picture at the motherfucking Oscars! Okay? So sit down, shut up, and appreciate that.